know that children are active learners, whether they're in school or outside of school. The LIAS principles that have to do with collaboration and hands-on learning and mastery over time are actually perfectly matched for a variety of learning settings for children. A lot of the research that's been done on 21st century education skills will validate this. There's a work that's been done by Trilling and Fadell that has to do with 21st century skills. There's some very, very deep research work that's been done over the last 10 years by Tony Wagner also that would validate this, that these skills of collaboration and active learning are just a perfect match for what we understand today about children and their learning and their brain development. I think what we're trying to do is to take all that we have learned about learning theory and to apply them across the board for children as they're learning in different kinds of settings 24 hours a day. We know that after school learning time can be very engaging and very active for students and quite meaningful to them as well. And so exploiting the opportunity to work with children during that time really will enhance their learning. Again, that's all validated by the kinds of research that's been done in the last decade that shows us that meaningful and engaging learning is really the most motivating time for kids. And we think that that is very effective learning time. Our experience is that exposing kids to other cultures and other areas and places around the world really enhances their learning. It's of great interest to them, and we believe that that motivates kids to really go very deeply into learning. So we think that the multicultural activities that are related to LIAS have tremendous potential in bringing more of a global awareness and cultural competency with kids. I think that in many ways what we're doing in schools today is a throwback to a time when in the early 20th century students were learning passively, sitting at their desks, and most of it was learning based on memorization. And what we know about 21st century learning is that kids need to be actively engaged. They need to have meaningful experiences. They need to be exposed to much more of a global awareness and cultural competency. And so our classrooms now, I believe, are going to make a huge transformation. The LIAS principles are perfectly in line with those kinds of necessary changes that have to take place in order for the education to be meaningful for kids moving into the 21st century. I think inquiry-based learning leads to more risk-taking among kids. As they're working on projects, they develop better perseverance and they become more resilient. They have fun while they're learning. We also know in terms of motivational theory that students engaged in meaningful experiences are going to be, that's going to lead to much better content mastery overall. So we think that the kinds of activities that engage the kids in after-school learning, which are less formal, can be tremendously meaningful in their learning. If we could change things in today's educational establishment and in the systems, we'd have much less reliance on normative standards. We would be doing much less preparation for students, just learning how to take tests. We'd be setting up classrooms where kids are much more engaged in their learning. We'd be calling on kids' previous knowledge and understanding to deepen their learning. And the kids would be actively involved. They'd be moving around. There'd be much more of an emphasis on collaborative learning, working in small groups, getting to know one another, and really talking deeply about the learning that's going on. We are preparing students for a successful experience as they matriculate through school and they grow up in the 21st century. We know that collaboration is going to be a very big part of their experience once they finish school and once they graduate. We also know that inquiry-based learning is going to be essential to their role in helping us in the 21st century as well. So all of these things combined will make the LIAS project very successful and very well linked to the kinds of 21st century principles that are important in education today.